Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are doing the highly requested buttonhole. If you haven't watched my previous videos, please do so. It will really help you with setting up the machine. Now disclaimer, I'm self-taught, so everything I've learned is just me struggling with this machine for hours. So let's touch on what you'll need. This is the pencil I use just to mark. This is the buttonhole foot. Then we have the buttonhole cutter, just this little thing, and then it has a cover. All of this comes in your machine with your machine. Then obviously your button that you'll be using, and then a pair of scissors, and then obviously the fabric. So this is the setting we'll be using to get our buttonhole, and that is obviously marked in pink, so they have it illustrated right on top, and then that's obviously why you have this little knob which you turn to get the actual stitch that's required. Make sure that your machine has thread. You switch on your machine. Okay, let's start with removing our foot. So to do that, you lift this little lever and then it drops the foot. So if you look down, you'll see that is how you remove it. So when you let go, it drops the foot, and that's the foot. So we need to place the buttonhole foot where the actual foot was, because we're switching from like a regular stitch and zigzag stitch to a buttonhole. This little clamp needs to hook onto this little thing right over there. So remember, this section faces upwards, okay? This is at the bottom. So just mind the needle. You can always just lift this, remember. There's a little lever on the side, and if you can see that, lift it like that, and then you let go. There you have it. Let me show it to you from a different angle. There, I've just dropped it. Okay, so now let me just lift it again for you. By lifting this, we will insert this, see, in there, let go, there we go, perfect. So there you go, that is our buttonhole foot. So this is when you basically move this depending on the length of the buttonhole. So when you put your fabric in place and you've marked it, it basically has to, because this was a big button, I basically left it over there so it could fit for the button. Measure it out right over there, and that is how long I need it to be. So I've marked it out with a pen. Normally you use like a pencil that washes out, like this white one, but because of the fabric that I'm working with, I wouldn't be able to actually see it, which is why I use the black pen. Also depending on where your buttonhole will be. Next thing we'll do is to place this underneath the buttonhole foot. We'll pull that down, lock it in place, and then we'll start sewing. Before we push down on the needle, let me remind you guys that we have to choose the correct setting. So that is where this comes in. This is what normally confuses a lot of people, which I get, it makes no sense, but if you can count till 4, then you're good to go. So always start with number 1 on top, then you get number 2, then you get number 3. Take a look at this stitch, right? And my illustrations, guys, it's the funniest thing. So if you look at what the stitch actually looks like, you will see that that fits in the buttonhole fit. Square that you see over there is what we see on the side. So it has 4 sides. So we're going to start with number 1. So as I'm sewing, I'll actually tell you guys when I'm changing. So you start with number 1. With number 1, you see where the arrow is, it moves down. With number 1, you'll see that it's the arrow pointing down. So what that means is that it will start on the left hand side sewing down. When I switch to number 2, it will give you the stitch at the bottom. When I switch to number 3, which I will obviously do over here, so I will switch and I will obviously turn it on the side. I'm giving you the numbers first because obviously you can see the letters. So when I go to 1, it will stitch down on the left hand side. I will go over to number 2, which will sew the bottom section, which you can see right over there. When I switch to number 3, it will go up. Always watch the arrow. Then we'll go up. Number 3 will go up. Then at top, you obviously have to go to 4 because you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 will give you the stitch on top. I had to point it out to you guys like this so that I don't have to like grab the camera and switch in between. But that is the simplest way I could possibly explain it to you. So when we go to number 1, we'll turn to K. When we go number 2, we'll go J. When we go to number 3, we'll go I. Once we are done with I, which will be the stitch on the right hand side, we go back to the middle, which is number 4. If you're confused with the numbers, just watch. Just check on top where it takes you, which will basically guide you, because number 1 will be left, number 2 will be the middle, number 3 will be on your right hand side, number 4 will be on top, and that is how you get your stitch. I hope I'm explaining this to you guys correctly. If you still don't understand, please pop me a message, especially for some of you that actually send me messages on Insta or in the comment section. I'll be happy to explain it to you guys. So now that we've figured out how big the buttonhole actually needs to be, it will be easier for us to measure. So oopsie. So that now we know. So we are going to start off with number 1. If you're following with me, we're going to start with number 1, which will be K, and right now, as you can see, we are on J. So oh no, oh what I'm doing. No, we are actually on K, so we will be on number K. What you'll notice is when you switch, oopsie, when you switch, you'll actually see how the needle moves, okay, to where it needs to be. So like I said, we'll start off with number 1. Number 1 being K. Remember where that stitch starts and ends, okay? So we will obviously start, that is the top where it actually starts. As you can see, needle is in place on the correct marker. Then we will drop the needle down. We all know where that lever is, so it's down on top. Now we're going to drop it in place, so it's like that is the lever, okay. We drop it in place, and that drops the needle, the foot down in place to assist us with sewing, okay. Let's start. My foot is on the speed controller. If you guys do not know any of the jargon, please go watch the other videos because I can't explain it again. So now we will sew and we'll get our straight line down, then we'll switch from 1, 2, 3 and 4 and back. I normally do a double just to get the hole more defined, okay. Okay, bear with me guys, I'm trying to give you the best angle. Foot down on the speed controller and basically going to feed it. Okay, let's start. So it will be a little bit noisy, but I'll mute the sound because it can be really annoying. Now we've done, important not to lift the foot. I had literally just checked if my 3 didn't snap because that was just so weird, but okay, important not to do that. So now that we've done K, we are now switching to number 2. If you guys get confused, just rewind back. Oh, I'm getting hot. Sorry, the tea. So if you guys get confused, rewind back to the actual IJK so that you guys know where I am, because I can't move the tripod the entire time because it's just a little difficult for me. So now that we've done number 1, we are now going to do number 2, which is the stitch in the middle. So now I'm switching from oh my word. So I'm switching from K to J. Okay, so I normally just double up on mine so that it just looks more defined. Once we're done with 2, we're going to 3, which is I. Okay, so that will basically give you the stitch on your right hand side. Now that we have I, so if you are still following, we stopped at J. We started with 1 and went to 2 from K to J, which is the bottom stitch. Now we're using number 3. So now we are on I. You can see that we switched to I, and now we're going to continue. Okay guys, so load shedding happened, but long and short of it is that from I we switched back to J, which was number 4, and that gave us our beautiful buttonhole. You then cut that open with your cutter, which is right next to it. You can see that in red, or you can just use a scissor to cut it. Basically does the same thing. And there you go. Good luck guys. I know it's really long and tedious. There's so many times where I shout at my machine. If you have any questions, please link it below. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.